Hey guys, I am so excited to deliver the second part of my message on financial philosophies, part number 2, and I can't wait to see some of the tools that you get a chance to use and implement over the course of this message. I got some great feedback from the last message that I gave, and I just want to recap some of those philosophies that we went over. We went over a little bit about myth versus reality, and talked a little bit about making sure you don't fall in the trap of just accumulating all this debt and living in the here and the now, and the stereotypes of broke college kids and not having money, and we're broke, we hate our lives, we hate our jobs, so let's go buy the new PS4 that's coming out. Living in stress and lacking confidence and not being able to do the things you want, and really helping you understand that in Vector and Cutco you have the opportunity to live everything you want through the business and have a relaxed life and invest in your future into real estate and cars and boats and have freedom and travel and do the things you want to do. And there's an awesome article that Matt is going to go ahead and share with you guys. And the article is called The 40 Money Management Tips Every College Student Should Know. And I want to go ahead and start with this, and we're going to use this handout over the course of your program. But I met someone at a college career fair I was at. She's the head of the financial aid department in Pinellas County, and she referred me to this site. I'm even going to try to get her to come speak to you guys. I don't know if that'd be cool or not, but we'll see what we can make happen going into the spring. I wanted to go ahead and start with number 25. And so if you go ahead and take a look at page number 25, it says resist peer pressure. You guys will be able to go ahead and read that. That's from my past message, and it was cool to see some of the concepts that I already reviewed with you was already went over in this handout. I got this handout after I gave my message to you, so you guys could read that as a group. And number 26, you could read that as a group, separating the needs from wants. Number 27, you could read that one as a group as well. Take advantage of student discounts. And the one thing I want to mention on the student discounts is Groupon and Living Social. And Amazon. There's so many cool ways to save money using those. I use them all the time. Every time I get a massage, I get them for like 29 bucks. Anytime I want to go out and take someone out on a date or go to a meal, I use Groupon. And the reason why is you get like a buy one, get one, and they're usually good restaurants. So go ahead. I'll take a moment. You could pause me and go ahead and read numbers 25, 26, and 27. All right, so hopefully you guys got a chance to see that we actually went over a lot of that information already. Now going down to page number 29. 29 and 30 we also discussed in our previous message, which is keeping track of your spending and trying to plug those spending leaks. We talked about tracking your spending daily. And what's kind of cool is the idea they give you is have a small notebook and write down everything you spend your money on, which is exactly what we spoke about. So it's really cool to see the same information you're learning from L.E.A.D is the same information that they're teaching in this course as well, which is really encouraging for me as well as for all of you. So go ahead and take a moment and refresh your memories. Go and read number 29 and number 30, and I'll go ahead and wait for you guys here. So go ahead and pause me and refresh your memories on number 29 and number 30. Now, number 31, someone gave a great idea at the last prep on Mint.com. Now, I went ahead and did some research on Mint.com. I registered myself, and I went in and looked at it. This is an awesome, awesome tool. There are so many useful tools that you could use on Mint.com, such as the budget tool, goals tool. There's trends on there. There's a lot of really essential things that I noticed that was really awesome. And I highly encourage you guys to register and sign up for Mint.com and link your accounts to it, which I was really pleased to see how effective that site could be. So I'm going to give you an assignment to have each one of you go ahead and register for Mint.com, and ideally at the end of this message today, you get a chance to go create a budget for yourself and set some goals for yourself. Now, number 32 through 35, we're not going to discuss those now as far as taking control of your credit. That's more, that's a whole topic in itself. So we're going to go and skip over that down to number 36. Now 36 through 39, these concepts, that's what we want to talk about today. Saving and investing money into your future, but more importantly, tailoring towards you guys, is how to apply your Cutco business to fulfill these fulfill this area of saving and investing money. And I'm really excited because this is something that I know a lot of you requested me to talk about and for us to discuss. So I think you should get a lot of value out of this, and I'm really excited to go ahead and dive in. So the first thing I wanted to talk about with you is we talked about fixed expenses, variable expenses, and savings in the last meeting. One thing I didn't get a chance to talk about though is how do you make money with Vector in order to earn that amount of money, so that way you are tying your sales into your expenses and managing your money. So what I went ahead and did is I did a couple of examples here that you guys could feel free to write down. So the first example that I have here, and I'll hold the paper up, it's probably not going to be able to be read, so that's why I'm just going to go ahead and read it to you because it comes in backwards. So the first one is fixed expenses. So you go through and do all your fixed expenses, your rent, your insurance, gas, utilities, gym, cell phone, whatever it is that you have. Now some of you are going to have higher expenses, higher fixed expenses than others. Some of you guys are going to have none because you live at home with your parents, so your fixed expenses will be slim. Some of you are supporting yourself and working full-time and you're not in school, so it's going to be a little bit higher. So case-by-case basis there. So I went ahead and did a simple example for some of you in the room that have fixed expenses of the one we did the last time, which is rent with $500, insurance with $60, gym with $20, utilities of $70, gas of $160, and phone of $80. So fixed expenses of $890 a month. Now, I did another example with fixed expenses of $400 a month. That's assuming you just don't have rent. Let's assume that you just have your insurance, gym, utilities, gas, and phone. Maybe you just contribute utilities to your parents, something along those lines. So only $400 a month. So what I want to go ahead and do is, if you have not done so yet, is to get your fixed expenses out. So take out your fixed expenses of all the things that will be the same every month, or just about the same, or like almost the same. Something that you could set up an automatic payment to. That's your cell phone, utilities, gym, insurance, all of those. So anything you can set an auto pay to, go ahead and take out that number and find that number. Go ahead and pause me, find that number, get your fixed expenses out. Alright, so now I'm assuming all of you have your fixed expenses out. Now how it works is, now once you have your fixed expenses out, you divide that number by 0.3. So whatever that number is, divided by 0.3, and that's how much you have to sell for that month. So on the $890 per month example, you divide by 0.3, you need to sell $3,000 a month just to survive. And if you're $400 a month, you need to sell $1,335 per month just to survive. Now, after you know that number, that's your must. Like, you have to do that just to survive. We also have our variable expenses. And a lot of times the variable expenses are also your fun money. So, for example, your entertainment, your personal care like massage or haircuts, or going shopping at the mall, going out to dinner, going out to the club, any of movies, anything like that. Your variable expenses, a lot of those will be different case-by-case basis. So some of your expenses will be higher, some are lower. So I went ahead and did one, came out to $540 a month, which means you would need to sell $1,800 a month to cover those expenses. And another one was just $400 a month. If you live a little bit cheap, maybe you spend $100 a week on going out to dinner and going out to the movies, and just doing all the things that you do. It's just $100 a week that you could live off of. And we went ahead with that one at $400 a month. Now, obviously, we're doing two extremes here, a little bit higher, a little bit lower, just so you have an idea. We also talked about, in last prep, we talked about cutting some of those expenses, trying to save a little bit of money, saving money on like bank fees and cooking versus eating out, and not socializing to like not eating out to socialize. We talked a little bit about that. So in this example here, we said you need to sell $1,800 a month or $1,335 a month. So go ahead, calculate your variable expenses, and pause me. Come up with that number, get that out, divide it by 0.3 so you can figure out how much you need to sell in order to hit that. All right. So I hope you guys now have your fixed expenses mapped out. You have your variable expenses mapped out. So now you have an idea of how much you need to sell just to survive and just to have the things you want. All right. So now you have a number. Now on the two numbers I have, one is $1,335. I'm going to use the low end, like if you're living like with your parents, and the lower end, because a lot of you guys I feel like that's more the majority, where it's like $400 a month covers your fixed expense and $400 a month covers your variable expense. So essentially $800 a month. $800 a month, $200 a week covers all of your expenses for the month. I'm going to use that one as an example here, but of course you have your own. So $1,335 to cover your fixed expenses, $1,335 to cover your variable expenses. So that leaves over another essentially $1,335 to hit bonus for the month. Now, a lot of you guys here are hitting bonus for the month, which is good, but some of you guys are not. And I just want to try to explain the benefits of getting that free money. Because what happens is $1,335 a month gives you $400 to cover your fixed expenses, and then another $400 to cover your personal expenses or your variable expenses. If you just sell another $1,335, you don't get $400. You get $1,200. $1,200. That is 300%. 300% increase in your amount of money you earn for the month just by selling an additional $1,335. Now, what could you do with that extra money is the question. Well, if $1,335 covers your fixed expenses and $1,335 covers your variable expenses, the other $1,335 brings you $1,200. Well, let's think about that for a moment. How would you want to separate that $1,200 a month? Now, obviously, there's a couple of different things that you could do. Here's my suggestion, as according to the concepts in financial philosophies. Hypothetically, what if you did this? Well, the first rule of thumb is you always want to save. You want to put yourself in a position, the first account you want to save into is your emergency fund, like your savings account. So what you want to do is you want to create like a separate checking account. Now, all of you guys, I hope you have a checking account, at least one. Now, once you branch and run a business, you'll have a second checking account that you call your business account. Now, you can create a savings account. You can do a couple of different things. I'm just going to keep it simple, and you call it a checking account. There's no extra charges. There's no extra fees. There's no extra annual charges, anything. It's just a checking account that you use for savings. That's all it is. That way you have access to it, but you have enough discipline, of course, to not use it. So the emergency account. You ideally want to put your fixed expenses, the amount of money you put to your fixed expenses, you put that amount of money into your emergency short-term fund. This would be like the car breaks down fund. This would be you got hit by a truck and you can't sell Cutco for a month fund or something like that. So you have your emergency fund of $400 a month. So the amount of your fixed expenses you put into this amount. So $400 out of that $1,200 that you just earned by hitting bonus goes into this, so you have an emergency fund started. That still leaves you an extra $800. Well, what if you were able to put another, let's say $600 a month into a withholding? And we'll call this withholdings account. You could put this for a startup for your branch. You could put this towards travel, like a trip you want to go on, a car fund, whatever you want to put it towards. You could just call it a withholdings. Tax withholdings, whatever you're going to use it for. That's up to you. But you put another $600 into that. That leaves another $200 a month that you could set aside. And we could put that $200 a month into the long-term investment fund. Something that is invisible that you never ever see. It just goes into your long-term investment. So let's think about what the benefits would be of this, because that's essentially what you care about, is what's in it for me. Why would I want to have enough discipline to do this? Well, let's think about it. Well, imagine at the end of every year, at the end of every year, you have another $4,800 in your bank account if no emergencies take place. Now, if emergencies take place, you use the money. But if emergencies don't take place, you have an extra $4,800 in your savings account, which is pretty solid for a college kid to develop. That's in your possession anytime, and you can use that whenever you want. It's your money. The next is the toys, the travel, the startup. At the end of the year, you would have $7,200 in that account, in that withholdings account. Think about that for a quick minute. Is that enough to run a profitable, successful branch organization? And maybe you're going to be an assistant. Is that enough to take your mom on that vacation you want to take her on, or buy that car, or do those fun things that you wanted to do, but you didn't have enough money to do? The next thing is the long-term investment. Well, let's think about that for a moment. That would only be $2,400 a month. Well, in the article that I read, it's actually linked through the site. The site that I found it on was NFCC, which stands for National Foundation for Credit Counseling. National Foundation for Credit Counseling. You can feel free to check out the site, nfcc.org, nfcc.org. And it said, time is money's best friend. And by beginning to save money and invest it at an early age, you can expect fantastic returns. As a matter of fact, if you begin investing $200 per month at age 25 and continue to do this until age 65, assuming the historical stock market return of 8%, you will have a nest egg worth of $650,000. $650,000 at retirement. So essentially, over the course of 40 years, you would invest $200 a month over the course of that 40-year time frame. And this is if you started at 25. If you start younger, you just make more. That would be $48,000 that you invested. So if you want to write that down, $48,000 of your own money you invested turns into $650,000 when you're ready to retire, just by having the simple discipline to put $200 a month. Nothing more. Nothing more than that. Now, one of the things this article talks about, that if you added in retirement savings like a 401k plan, or if you added in, like some companies will match monthly contributions, like $100 from the employee and then the $100 from the employer. So some companies, when you're out of college, they might start matching you on retirement plans if you're showing that you're willing to invest. I know if you're an educator, like a teacher, they'll do something like this. And if you apply the exact same assumptions, it would be another $650,000, which is $1.3 million approximately. Now, of course, we can't predict what's going to happen with the government and all that, so I don't want to get too much into that. However, you can't go wrong with saving and investing into yourself. And that's one of the concepts we talked about, which was paying yourself first. Paying yourself first is just one of those concepts that, man, we just do not talk about in our society, because not many people are in a position where they could pay themselves first. You are, because you are running a business. In fact, one of the articles I read also that's through the site that said, start a business, become an entrepreneur. That's one of the tips. I actually think that's one of the 37 tips. Now I'm thinking about it. If I look this jobs, number 16. Number 16, turn a hobby or a skill into a money-making endeavor. So it talks about number 16, you don't have to work for someone else to make a few bucks. Being your own boss gives you the ultimate flexibility in balancing study and working. You might offer like a home sitting, babysitting, pet sitting, dog walking, tutoring, computer troubleshooting, or car detailing service, or just selling handmade goods such as jewelry, photography, or painting. Put your talents to work and become a young entrepreneur. That was the number 16 tip to prepare, and money management tip. So obviously that's what we do. We sell Cutco. And you have that opportunity ahead of you with the guidance and structure that the L.E.A.D program and all your management staff provide you as well. So let's get back to this. So if you just got in the habit of hitting bonus land for the month, so bonus land for the month, that is $4,000 a month sold. Your $1,335 covers your fixed expenses, $1,335 covers your variable expenses, and then the other $1,335 allows you to start an emergency savings fund, allows you to put money into startup and put money towards your toys or your vacations, and then another $200 a month into your long-term IRA account that you could set up with mutual funds or however you want to do it, money markets, and there's a bunch of different ideas in the money making strategy, which is principle it looks like principle number 39. Yeah, investing your money, saving money market accounts, savings bonds, CDs, stocks, and mutual funds. So obviously, you can talk to a financial advisor about that. In fact, one of my good friends that I sold Cutco with, Mark Kershane, you could get his contact number from Matt if you want, or myself. Actually, let me go ahead and get it for you. He's a very good friend of mine, and he is a financial advisor for Northwestern Mutual, and I sat down with him actually about 2 weeks ago. And I sat down with him just to hear what he had to say, and he educated me about different options of where to spend money. And he gave me a lot of good concepts. A lot of his IRA concepts that I'm sharing with you came from Mark, and things I've heard in the past as well. But definitely someone I would encourage you guys to talk to. So let me get his number for you. I didn't plan on this, but I figured this wouldn't hurt. So I have it under Cutco Mark. His phone number is 727-637-2560. You can find him on Facebook, Mark Kershane, Courchane, Mark Kershane. Matt might have his contact info as well, so I'm sure that he will not be upset if I give you his info, because he makes money if he helps you make money. So he will put your money in places that help you make money, because then he makes money off of your money. So it's a pretty cool business that he's in with Northwestern Mutual. So let's get back to this. So now, assuming you guys are disciplined enough, which I'll talk about in a moment, of selling the $4,000 a month, well, what you would want to do is you would want to set your fixed expenses up on auto payments. So it's auto draft. So every month it comes out of your account. You set it up that way, so it's just automatically done. $400 a month out. The other $400 a month is a variable expense. You just have that linked to a debit card you have access to. The emergency short-term fund that we were talking about, the savings that you're putting $400 a month into, just get a separate checking account or savings account you put that money into. Just transfer it. Just make sure that account has no annual fees, no extra charges, no hidden costs. Your toy travel startup, you put that money into a withholding. I would set that up through Cutco, and you could title it however you want. You could also set up multiple withholding accounts to my knowledge as well. And then the long-term investments, you want to put that through like an IRA or money market. So you set up these accounts and you just transfer the money into that account at the end of every month. Now the mint.com, I mentioned earlier that someone suggested last prep. I think it was Patrick Evidenti who brought it to our attention with a couple other people like Robert and such. I would encourage you guys to utilize that tool because it can help you manage these and monitor these expenses as well. Now, let's get to selling the $4,000 a month. Well, what's in it for you to do this? Well, let's think about this. If you sell $4,000 a month, that essentially averages out to approximately $4,000 a month. It looks like it's I calculated $48,000 a year. My math would probably be wrong because it would be $52,000 a year if it's $4,000 a month. That doesn't make too much sense. Maybe because it's 1,000 a week. There's 52 weeks in a year, but maybe the vector calendar year. As last I messed something up. I don't know how I messed that up or where that's not coming from. But so $4,000 a month times 12 months is $48,000 a year, but there's 52 weeks in a year. So I sound ridiculous right now, but anyway. So we'll call it $48,000 a year. All right, so $48,000 a year times 4 years of selling Cutco. Let's say you sell Cutco for 4 years. That's essentially $192,000 you'll sell. Now, myself as a college student, I started in June of 2004, and obviously I branched and I sold as a branch, but I went district in 2008, the summer of 2008. So essentially I sold for 5 years, so 5 academic years. I sold $160,000, which means I averaged selling about $32,000 a year. Nothing crazy. I wasn't an Andy Jonte or a Jamie King by any means, but I was able to sell $32,000 a year, which provided me an opportunity to do the things that I wanted to do. I was able to travel, as I mentioned to you. I was able to visit family. I was able to invest at a young age. I was able to do some things that I wanted to do. Well, the cool things about this is if you stick to this plan, now I'm more wise than I am now, than I was back then. Well, if you follow this little plan that we're talking about now, you would have $192,000 in Cutco sales sold if you started today. In 4 years from now. Now, some of you guys already started on this path, but if you started today and 4 years from now, some of you guys might be in school for another 4 years. Some of you might be on the 5-year plan like I was. I had a minor. Some of you might be on the 9-year plan like some of my friends were. Either way, if you just did this for 4 years, you'll have $192,000 in Cutco sold. You'll have all of the benefits that we just talked about. So that means over the course of this 4-year time frame, that emergency account, if you never had to use it, $4,800 times 4 years, that thing is up to almost 20 grand. Your withholding account is $7,200 a year times 4 years, that thing is almost up to 30 grand. And that IRA, that's just working. You're not even worrying about that because you're just doing that over the course of your life anyway. But if you want to know what's in that, that's about 10 grand in that. So you got 10 grand in one bucket, and that money's working for you. You got another 20 grand in another bucket, which is access at any point in time. And then you got 30 grand sitting there in withholdings that you could use for whatever the heck you want as well. Now you're putting yourself in a position where you could start building wealth. You could start building wealth, and most of you guys are going to be the age 23 approximately, maybe 24, maybe 22. If you executed this plan, my goodness, plus you have all your expenses. Now, as you get older, of course, your expenses aren't probably going to be $400 a month, and your fixed and your $400 a month here. So your expenses are probably going to be more than $800 a month. But if you could keep it that low for that long, and then you could make the money we're talking about with Cutco, this is not including like AM pay and manager pay and branch income. We're just talking about selling, consistently selling and running an annual business of selling $1,000 a week or $4,000 a month. What that could do for you. Let's talk about this. $192,000 in CPO with a $300 average order. That means you will have generated over 640 clients. Imagine at 23 years old, you established 640 clients from scratch through self-generated appointments. Think about the relationships you established. Think about all the possibilities of what that can create for you. Think about the repeat business you can create through 640 clients if you do it the right way starting now. Think about that. If you actually told your customers that you follow up with them every holiday, and you actually did. If you told them every several months you follow up with them to make sure their Cutco's in good shape, and you actually did, starting today. Imagine if you had a follow-up plan in place going into this L.E.A.D push, where you not only were focusing on your push, but you were focusing on your annual business, and you treated this like a business. Because essentially, we're talking about 4 orders a week. Now, to create 4 orders a week for most of you in this room, you're talented enough to be able to do that on 7 or 8 appointments. And to create 7 or 8 appointments, ladies and gentlemen, is really not that tough. I have some people I've witnessed in my career that they make 100 phone calls to book up 8 appointments. That is bonkers. To spend that much time, how could you get yourself from an and think about it, 100 calls to 8 appointments, that's like a 12-to-1 ratio. And in some cases that's good. Well, I'm here to tell you that's not good. That's not healthy for your business. My challenge to all of you during this L.E.A.D push and during the alliances and during the day, during what we're trying to do, is how can you get that down to a 5-to-1? I challenge you, a 5-to-1. And I have a couple of strategies on how to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, 5-to-1 is not that challenging. Well, first off, how do you get to a 5-to-1? Well, the easiest way to do it is call initials. Call people that know your name and know your family name, where if they heard of you or know of you, it's easy. Those convert at a 1-to-1 or a 3-to-1. So those are easy. That's number 1. So get over the chicken list. Number 2, easy way to get a 5-to-1 conversion is get your customer involved. Gosh, if I had a gun to your head and said if you left a demo and you didn't have another demo booked when you left that demo, could you find a way to get another demo? Yeah, that's a 1-to-1. That's even better. Think about it. Think about if you left a customer's house and you booked up another demo from her house. My goodness. And how do you do that? How do you get that efficient at making sure that you can create a 5-to-1 ratio where you get your customer involved? And I know this is a financial message, but why not give you some sales tips? Think about it. You say, Miss Jones, I was going to drive all the way back to my office just to make some phone calls to book out my other 3 appointments I need for the week. If you could help me get 1 or 2 or all 3 of those right now, you know what? It would mean the absolute world to me. And the best part is it'll only take you a couple of minutes, where for me it could take me upwards of an hour or more. And it would mean so much to me and towards my goals that I'm working towards. So like I said, I only call people I'm personally recommended to. So it would be great if you could just help me get in contact with a couple of these people right now. See, what most people say is like, I'm a student, I'm working towards my degree in engineering. They don't have to get anything, I get paid just to show it. And would it be cool if I just call them and let them know what I'm doing? And so here's who you wrote down. Who do you think out of this list could be best to try first, just to see if they might be available? And just point. Maybe your sister, maybe your mom, maybe your best friend. Cool, let's give them a try. Let's see if they answer. And then they start dialing. And that is, as it's dialing, I say, now, Ms. Jones, remember, it's not about the knives. It's not about Cutco. It's just about me and my goals that I'm working towards. And she gets on the phone, and she's talking, hey, Susie, it's Jackie. How was the barbecue you went to? Yada, 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 small talk. And it's like, hey, by the way, I have this guy here. His name is Mike, and he's working in school. As soon as she starts going to that, I'm like, hey, can I introduce myself? Can I say hi? Can I? Actually, here, hold on. He wants to talk to you. Jackie? Hey, Jackie? Hey, it's Mike Abramowitz. How are you? Good. Thank you so much for agreeing to help me out with this. I really appreciate it. Susie's been awesome. She had nothing but good things to say about you. And then I go into my phone approach. Notice I said, thanks for agreeing to help me out. She didn't even know she's agreeing to help me out with you. I just assumed the sale. I can't tell you, this is what I had to do as a student, is alley-oops all the time. Can you get your customer to shoot a text message to the rest of the people she didn't call, just giving them a heads up? And then can you make 5 calls at the end of every demo from their driveway before you leave, and then 5 calls before you start the next demo. 5 by 5. 5 calls before, 5 calls after. Get your customer to send the text messages and get her to take action and make that phone call right away. I got a lead to believe that you can get 7 to 8 appointments booked up each week simply by doing this. Plus, on top of that, all you got to do is create 4 orders out of those 7 or 8 appointments. On top of that, that will equal $1,000 a week. On top of that, that's $4,000 a month. On top of that, that is going to allow you to have all your fixed expenses paid, your variable expenses paid. You have an emergency savings account taken care of. Plus, your withholdings are capped and maxed out. Plus, you have your long-term investments and your IRAs taken place, where your money's working for you towards your retirement and towards your family and towards your future. So essentially, when does your year start? That's my question. My challenge for all of you is to have your year start now. Your year starts right now on Sunday night tomorrow. I know in my office we're doing a planning session starting at 3 p.m. We are coming to my office 3 p.m. We are starting our plan. We are putting it all on paper, and we are starting with the Oleum push week 1 of your new year towards your financial freedom and your financial independence for your life. So hopefully you got some value out of this, and I want to leave on this note. Go ahead and read number 40. Net worth is not the same as self-worth. Money is important, but it's not everything. Good friends, strong values, and work you enjoy count more than all the money in the world. Money is only a vehicle to help you get where you want to go. Manage it well, cut the little expenses that add up, avoid borrowing money at high interest levels, and watch your money grow as you save and invest. This way, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment, and your money helps you reach your goals. I'll tell you right now, your journey starts with you. If you want to go ahead and reach a high level of fulfillment for life and for yourself and for your future, it starts here at Vector. And I promise you, if you execute this plan the right way and you make selling habitual and you become business partners with your manager and you work towards this success and you have the self-control and these little disciplines and patterns towards success, you will have an unbelievable amount of fulfillment that we all desire and we crave. So I hope you got some value, and go rock the rest of your meeting, guys.